I always love being board rep and coming to church because of the music that we have at this place, and I always get so excited and then just so relaxed at this point. But now you guys have to listen to me, I'm sorry. So good morning, everyone. My name is Nicholas Clark. I use he, him pronouns, and I am proud to serve on your UUCW Board of Trustees. We offer great gratitude for the privilege of living and gathering on traditional territory inhabited at various times by Native peoples. We are a welcoming congregation to gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexual, and queer plus peoples. As an anti-racist faith community, we also acknowledge that racism through our society continues to lead to the violent deaths and oppressions of Jews, Black, and Indigenous peoples, and other people of color. To our friends and family who are watching us virtually, we're happy you're here with us, and hey, how's it going? Hope you're doing good. Wherever you are right now, whatever your age or color, whatever your gender identity, whatever your chosen beliefs are, whoever you love, you are welcome here. Now it's time for the fun housekeeping items. Today is a regularly scheduled RE class. Kids will head to their assigned classes after the story for all ages. As far as the middle school classes, they have a field trip today. If you're not going on that field trip, you're more than welcome to hang out here in the sanctuary or help downstairs with the nursery and the other kids. And YRUU is still planned to meet at their regular time as well. If you concentrate better while keeping your hands busy, please feel free to use our exploration table located to my left, which is already being used. Hey. If you are new and would like more information or for someone to reach out to you, please fill out, I don't have the blue slip, I'm a bad person, I'm sorry. There's a blue slip in your handouts. Please feel free to fill that out. Or talk to the representative at the newcomers table, or you can go to uucw.org and look at the newcomers tab there and gather all the information, and somebody is more than happy to help out. So as time allows you, please read through the rest of the announcements that are provided in the booklet that was handed out to you. And with all that shared and received, let's settle in for this time together.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Jill Braithwaite. I use she, her pronouns, and I serve this congregation as your minister. It is so good to be with you all on this bright, sunny morning. I invite us all now to take a moment to bring ourselves to presence here together in this particular moment, on this particular day, with whatever you are carrying with you. You might take a deep breath if that feels comfortable to you. You might notice how your body is supported by the chair you're in and by the earth beneath us. And now I offer these words to call us into worship. Here within these walls, here in this community of love and justice, we pause in our busy lives to consider what is worthy of our deepest yearnings. In the time we are given here, may we pay attention to the wonder of each moment. May we grieve what is lost. May we be grateful for our life on this beautiful earth. And may we prepare ourselves for the work that love calls us to do. Just as we are, may we be the beloved community. And now I invite Nick to light our chalice as we speak together our chalice lighting words, which are printed in your order of service. We light our chalice as a symbol of the light within us and the life that flows through the world around us. It is our beacon as we search for truth. It is the warmth in our hearts for love, and it is the energy that propels us to action. May we be kindled by our time together. Now let's rise in body and or spirit, and we'll sing hymn number 347, Gather the Spirit.
to celebrate once again. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength. Gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit growing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather to sympathy now and then. Gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again.
I recruited a wrangler, an animal wrangler, so while Desi gets set up, and also while anybody who wants to come closer to see get a better look at some of the pictures that go with today's story, please come on forward. If you want you can grab a cushion on your way. I'm kind of blocking your view for some people over here. So, I am Dave Cicero, Director of Lifespan Religious Education here at UU Church West. My pronouns are he, him. I'll be sharing a story with you today. It's a book called The Rabbit Listened, written by Corey Derfeld, published by Dial Books for young readers. One day, Taylor decided to build something new, something special, something amazing. Taylor was so proud. But then, out of nowhere, I'm sure we can all think of a time when we worked so hard on something and we're so happy the way it turned out, and then disaster of one sort or another. In Taylor's case, things came crashing down. The chicken was the first to notice. Exactly. Cluck, cluck. What a shame. I'm so sorry this happened. Cluck, cluck, cluck. Let's talk. Talk about it. Cluck, cluck. But Taylor did not feel like talking. So the chicken left. Next came the bear. Roar is right. Rawr, how horrible. I bet you feel so angry. Let's shout about it. Rawr, rawr, rawr. But Taylor didn't feel like shouting either. So the bear left. The elephant knew just what to do. Trumpeter, I can fix this. We just need to remember exactly the way things were. But Taylor didn't feel like remembering. So the elephant also left. One by one they came. The hyena, hee 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 hee, let's laugh about it. The ostrich, gulp, let's hide and pretend nothing happened. The kangaroo, tisk tisk, what a mess. Let's throw it all away. And the snake, shh, let's go knock someone else's down. But Taylor didn't feel like doing anything with anybody. So eventually, they all left. Until Taylor was alone. In the quiet, Taylor didn't even notice the rabbit. But it moved closer and closer until Taylor could feel its warm body. Together, they sat in silence until Taylor said, "Please stay with me." And the rabbit listened. The rabbit listened as Taylor talked. The rabbit listened as Taylor shouted. The rabbit listened as Taylor remembered and laughed. The rabbit listened to Taylor's plans to hide, to throw everything away, to ruin things for someone else. And through it all, the rabbit never left. And when the time was right, the rabbit listened to Taylor's plan to build again. "I can't wait," Taylor said. "It's going to be amazing." Thank you. I'm just going to leave it there, the end. I'm going to invite Shay, who agreed to light our lantern and lead us out to our religious ed classes. And those going, I'm going to invite them forward to follow Shay out of the sanctuary where we will organize ourselves. And will you please join me in singing? As you go, may joy surround you. As you go, go in peace. Know our love is with you always. As you go, as you go, as you go, may joy surround.
We enter now a time for sharing of joys and sorrows that touch our individual lives. This is one way we express through ritual all the many ways we care for one another in this faith community. In a moment, you'll be invited to come to the mic to share aloud or to raise your hand, and an usher will bring you a mic. I will light a candle for you, and after each sharing, I invite you all to respond with me, "We hold you in love." If you have something you'd rather not share aloud, you can use the QR code on the order of service. And at any time during the week, you can use the link in the e-news to let us know what's on your heart. What you share here will not be posted in the video of the service or shared in our e-news. I want to first light a candle of outrage and grief for all those who have been impacted by recent attacks in the U.S., Israel, and Iran. By the U.S., Israel, and Iran. We lift up all those who have been injured and whose lives have been lost in Iran, Lebanon, Iraq, Israel, Bahrain, and Kuwait, including civilians as well as American service members. We hold you. I also light a candle of outrage and grief for the life of Ruben Ray Martinez, age 23, a U.S. citizen who, it was revealed this week, was shot and killed by an ICE agent during a traffic stop in March of last year. We pray for an end to this violent and unaccountable secret police force. We hold you. And now please come forward if you'd like to share. To folks attending online, please know that we hold you in love as well. Now let's pause and breathe together and hold all that's been shared in our hearts. Will you join me in a spirit of prayer or meditation? Spirit of life and love, divine mystery that goes by many names and is beyond all naming, we give thanks for the gift of this day and for the opportunity to gather and share this space and time together. We send the love and care of this community to all who suffer the weight of oppression and to all who are coping with illness, grief, or loneliness. We send the love of this care of this community to all who are targeted by the current administration with brutal attacks on life and liberty. We seek the strength and courage to rise together against abuses large and small. Let us be sustained by hope and guided by love. May it be so, and amen. Now please remain seated, and we'll sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me.
Good morning. I'm Mary Nordhagen. My pronouns are she and her, and the reading today is This Summer Day by Mary Oliver. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last, and too soon? Tell me what it is you plan to do with your one wild and precious life.
I love hearing that poem anytime I can. So, I'm going about a normal day. It's appropriate that we had some phone noise here. You'll see in a minute. So I'm going about a normal day, and I pick up my phone to check the weather forecast. Then I see a text notification, and I click on that. A friend has sent a funny Instagram link. I click, haha. Another friend has sent an article link. I click on that. Several minutes pass. Now I'm scrolling my Instagram feed. More minutes pass. And now suddenly I'm very, very far away from the intent I had when I picked up my phone. I have had this happen where a half hour goes by and I never get to the weather forecast. I'm reading something I did not seek out and only vaguely chose. I'm scrolling through image after image. And I'm feeling something that was not part of any intention I had for this day at all. And I'm carrying some slight unease into the next part of the day. Any of this sound familiar to anyone else? Am I alone? Show of hands, is this a familiar? Oh my goodness, yes. The rest of folks who didn't raise your hand, we can learn from you after the service. So really, nothing major happened here, right? But something did happen. My attention was spent. It was spent on things that I didn't intend to spend it on. Things that didn't actually bring any value to me or to those I'm connected to. And there's a reason that we feel an uneasiness about time spent like this, I think, a sense of something lost. It turns out that distraction isn't just a problem of productivity, it's a problem of formation. Because attention doesn't just reflect our lives, it actually creates our lives. Writer J.W. Bertolotti puts it this way, quote, "Your life isn't only what happens to you, it's what you let in, it's what you linger on, it's what you return to. This is why distraction feels strangely hollow," he continues. "It gives you plenty of stimulation, but very little chosen experience. You don't decide what matters, you drift into what is loud, new, frictionless, and emotionally sticky." End quote. This drifting tends to infuse our worldview, especially over time. Bertolotti says that it drifts us into kind of an unconscious credo set of underlying beliefs, which he describes like this, quote, "Nothing deserves full presence. Everything can be interrupted. Every quiet moment must be filled. The deeper problem is not that you miss a few minutes, it's that you slowly lose the thread of your own life." It feels real to me, the effect of this attention economy that we live in right now. In a world of constant distraction where our phones buzz, our calendars overflow, and our news feeds can scroll endlessly, real attention is becoming rare. The good news, my friends, is that it is resistible, as I'm sure many of you know, but it definitely takes intentional choice and effort for most of us. For the last year, I've been using an app called Opal that has really been helping me with this. More good news is that our Unitarian Universalist faith speaks directly to this challenge. It reminds us that the spiritual life does not begin with answers, but rather with noticing, with presence, with paying attention to what is. Because we know that before we can heal what is broken, we have to see it, to perceive it, to take it in. So let's get into the connection between attention and love. 2 weeks ago here, I preached about Bell Hooks's definition of love. She speaks of it as, quote, "the will to extend oneself for the purpose of nurturing your own or another's spiritual growth." The root of the word attention is the Latin verb attendere, which means to stretch toward or to give heed to. And there's a clear connection, that movement of the self outward toward another. In her book, All About Love, Bell Hooks expands on her definition of love to define it as not simply a feeling, but rather as a practice, one that includes 6 ingredients: care, commitment, curiosity, responsibility, respect, and trust. Every one of these ingredients requires attention to be made manifest in the world. You cannot care for what you refuse to notice. You cannot commit to what you don't stay present with. You cannot respect what you have rendered invisible or has been rendered invisible. Love is not just what we feel for one another, it is how long and how honestly we are willing to pay attention. There's a moment that most of us can remember, a moment when we felt truly seen. If you think about it, you might have a moment like that you can remember. Not evaluated, not fixed, not managed, but truly seen, the way that Rabbit brought to our tower builder in our story. Maybe it was a teacher who noticed something in you before you noticed it yourself, a friend who sat with you in silence, like Rabbit, when words were too heavy. A stranger who met your eyes in a hard moment and let you know you were not alone. This kind of attention changes us, because to be seen, really seen, is to be affirmed. It says to us, you matter. We can do that for one another. Think about the people you love most. You know their small details, right? An extensive catalog of small details about them, how they take their coffee, what makes them laugh, what irritates them. That's not accidental, that's the fruit of attention, of being present with someone long enough to really see who they are. And the same is true in community, in congregations, in families, in neighborhoods. What we pay attention to is what grows. When we notice one another's gifts, those gifts flourish. When we notice someone's struggle, support becomes possible. Love begins with noticing. Oliver Berkman is the author of the book Meditations for Mortals, 4 weeks to embrace your limitations and make time for what counts. He offers this sobering thought for us. Your experience of being alive consists of nothing other than the sum of everything to which you pay attention. At the end of your life, looking back, whatever compelled your attention from moment to moment is simply what your life will have been. So when you pay attention to something you don't especially value, it's not an exaggeration to say that you're paying with your life. Sobering indeed. It's more important than ever that we are good stewards of our own attention, and thus good stewards of how love is moving in us, in our lives, and through us out into the world. And of course, this connection between attention and love does not play out only in the personal realm. It is political, it is moral, it is deeply connected to justice. Because injustice depends on invisibility. Racism relies on people not paying attention to whose lives are being devalued. Poverty relies on people not noticing who is left behind without enough. Environmental destruction depends on us not looking too closely at who is breathing polluted air or drinking unsafe water. Systems of harm survive because they carry with them methods of teaching us to not notice, not to see the lives behind the statistics, the human suffering behind data. We're taught to not feel the weight of suffering that does not directly touch us. For example, white supremacy conceals its tracks by operating as an embedded, often invisible system of normalcy, rather than just overt individual acts of hate. It disguises itself through institutional policies, psychological defenses, cultural norms that maintain racial hierarchy. Whiteness gets positioned as the neutral standard or default setting for human experience. Anything that deviates from this is positioned as other or abnormal or niche. With the Oscars coming up, and someone who's very interested in the film industry, and I do love the Oscars, an example of this comes to mind from that world. The film Sinners, did any folks see this film Sinners this past year? It's an incredible film written and directed by the brilliant black filmmaker Ryan Coogler. Has mostly a black cast. It cost $90 million to make. The film Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was made a few years ago by Quentin Tarantino, a white filmmaker, and it also cost $90 million to make. For big films like these, the media often reports on opening box office weekend, and the headline for the article about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was this in the New York Times. Once Upon a Time is a box office hit for Tarantino. And the article tells us it made $40.4 million during its open weekend. The film Sinners made $45 million in its opening weekend, nearly $5 million more than Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, the Times headline about Sinners was this: Sinners is a big box office success, but profitability remains a long way off. That kind of subtle bias, who knows, how does that infect the minds of movie executives? Of course, it went on to become insanely profitable worldwide. And I am rooting for it on Oscar night. Paying attention to bias helps us become part of interrupting white supremacy culture. Paying attention to Black voices and perspectives helps white folks interrupt the constant and ongoing centering of whiteness and white people's perspectives. Justice, grounded in love, begins when we stop looking away. Justice begins when we stop looking away. Paying attention means listening when someone tells us their story, even when it unsettles us. It means seeking out perspectives other than our own. It means believing people when they speak about their lives. It means asking questions with sincere curiosity, even when we think the answers will make us uncomfortable. Paying attention means asking questions about how our own privilege relies on others not having enough. This is not always comfortable. It may challenge our assumptions, our habits, even our sense of who we are. To really pay attention is to let reality unsettle us and change us. And it's important to know that our discomfort is not a sign of failure or a problem to be solved. Discomfort is where growth begins if we let it. It's where transformation, guided by love, toward a more just world begins. Our UU commitment to the inherent worth and dignity of every person is not just a beautiful idea, it is a discipline of love, and thus a discipline of attention. It asks us to keep seeing one another fully, even when it would be easier to simplify or dismiss. One of the central ideas in Adrienne Marie Brown's work is something she calls emergent strategy. You may know her book by that title. It's the idea that big transformation often begins in small patterns. She writes, "Small is good, small is all." At first, that can sound almost disappointing. We often want change to come in dramatic moments. We long for them. Revolutions, sweeping reforms, huge breakthroughs. But Brown reminds us that lasting change usually begins in the smallest places: conversations, relationships, daily choices about how we treat one another. And attention is where it all begins. When we pay attention, we begin to notice patterns of harm and also patterns of care. We notice where people are hurting, and we notice where hope is quietly growing. And once we see those patterns, we can act in ways that reduce harm and feed hope and healing. The practice of paying attention is at the very heart of UU theology and faith. I invite us all to think about paying attention not as something we do once, but as a spiritual discipline, as a practice in our daily lives. We might consider making a practice of regularly asking ourselves questions like these. What have we been too busy to notice in our own lives? What or who might be longing for your presence? What in your community might be crying out to be noticed? Paying attention does not mean fixing everything. Sometimes it simply means sitting with what is, like our dear rabbit. Being willing to say, I am here, I see you, and I am with you. And in a world that so often rushes past pain and beauty alike, that is a radical act of love. To pay attention is to say, you matter. To pay attention is to resist despair. To pay attention is to choose love again and again. May we be a people who notice, who notice one another, the world, and the quiet invitations to the sacred that are all around us. And may our attention become an offering of justice, an expression of love, and a source of resilient hope. May it be so, and amen.
At UUCW, each month, we give half of all undesignated offerings to a local nonprofit to address human needs and advance social justice in our community in keeping with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Split the Plate partner for March is the Franciscan Peacemakers. I am honored to introduce Executive Director Megan O'Halloran, who will share a bit about their work. She will be available after the service to respond to your questions and comments. Additionally, we have the wonderful opportunity to support Peacemakers by purchasing their soaps, lotions, candles, bath bombs, and salt scrubs, beautifully handmade with all natural ingredients by women working together towards individual and collective healing.
Thank you, Kayla. I just want to start with our gratitude for the opportunity to come be with you for this service today. Globally, human trafficking ensnares roughly 25 million people, and within the United States, Milwaukee is recognized as one of the hubs by law enforcement nationally. That's for many reasons. We are along routes between many large cities, and we have a large number of group homes for young people that make them vulnerable. But for 30 years, Franciscan Peacemakers has been serving the community for women who are trapped in sexual exploitation, whether that be recognized as a choice or whether that is in trafficking. We use the term exploitation because at the end of the day, there's somebody benefiting from the bondage that these women are in, and it is not the women that we serve. So we have had this outreach program, and that's what we started as by two priests. They set up shop on 16th and North. They just brought bag lunches and started building up that rapport with the women that were on the street, and then eventually introducing programming, trying to kind of build those connections to offer them an exit ramp to the life. And so that stays at the core of our mission. Our mission is to provide a pathway to healing for women who've been sexually exploited. We offer housing, employment, and a healing network of support while advocating for an end to human trafficking. And so the outreach program today, the way it looks is we still do outreach directly on the street via van, and so we still bring those bag lunches. We also offer hygiene kits, we offer Narcan to respond to overdoses, because the women that we serve are oftentimes living at the intersection of the vulnerabilities of substance abuse, homelessness, and then the exploitation. And so we do that twice a week via van, and then we have a hospitality center. And the hospitality center reminds me a lot of the Rabbit Listened story, because on any given day, we may be laughing, like the hyena, we may be screaming, like the bear over, the conditions in which women find themselves, right? But sometimes we just sit in silence, and sometimes they'll come in, we hop up, we say, can we get you coffee? Can we get you some oatmeal? And sometimes what that woman needs is just to sit and have a nap and just be in silence and just be safe for the minute. And so that rapport, that trust is built up over sometimes, years before women are willing to share any details about their lives, really. So that is still our outreach program, and in that program we serve roughly 150 to maybe 250 unduplicated women every single year. We serve about 5,000 cold lunches. We started a Warming Wednesday and now Toasty Tuesday program, so we offer about 600 hot lunches every year. Last year, we distributed 1,200 hygiene kits and about 550 doses of Narcan. And then roughly like 15 years ago, we started a housing program and a social enterprise. And so this program is for women who have a little bit of sobriety under their belt. They can stay with us for up to 2 years and receive case management and licensed professional counseling. And then they can work in our social enterprise, making and selling all these beautiful products so that at the end of 2 years with us, they have some skills, savings, and sobriety for their next chapter. And so, yeah, I'll just land the plane with, thank you for this opportunity. If you have any more questions, we'll be out in the lobby, and then we'll also have some of our products for sale. You can also find us online and at a lot of retail partners. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
To support the Franciscan Peacemakers today, you can do the following. You can go to the UUCW website's Donate tab and select Split the Plate from the menu provided, or text your donation to 73256, or mail in your donation to UUCW. Thank you for your generosity, and we will now gratefully receive your offering.
Will you speak with me now the words for dedicating our offering, which are printed in your order of service? To the work of this community, which is to ground ourselves in love and joy, and to act for inclusion and justice, we dedicate ourselves and these our offerings. Now please rise in body and or spirit, and we'll sing together hymn number 175, We Celebrate the Web of Life.
We celebrate the web of life, its magnitude we sing. and see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacles as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect the water, land, and air which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
May we be mindful of how we are spending these wild and precious lives of ours. May we know ourselves held by a love that will not let us go. And may you each be blessed and be a blessing. May it be so, and amen.